A good way to start into the weekend here, Thursday night matchup. Let's head into the Sunday slate now. Let's talk about the Bears and the Lions, another NFC matchup here. And I'll let's have a moment of silence for Steve and his Bears. The
You
Bears will
can't hurt me.
always the Bears will always have their first drive of the 2025 season. Things are looking so great. And
Yeah, the
then
first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that drive was like euphoric, I bet. I can just imagine as a Bears fan.
You almost had a hope for like a
Yeah.
half a second. Can I say real quick before
Exactly
we
right.
hop into this? The ironic part of that fourth quarter meltdown was that was the celebration of the 85 Bears championship season. That
That is
that was
ironic,
the
yeah.
most ironic part of all of that.
That is salt in the wound for sure. So, all right, yeah. So, nonetheless, it should be a fun matchup. Both teams obviously coming into this one 0-1, so kind of a lot at stake here, honestly, for both teams. An interesting note about we'll talk about the Bears in a minute too, but the Lions and Jared Goff specifically, one of those weird trends or stats that is noteworthy or something that maybe you could peel back the onion a little bit further on. Goff, he has not won a game in the NFL without Sean McVay or Ben Johnson as his play caller. Odd, right? 0-19-1 over that span. So 20 game sample size. So let's go, baby. Bears, Steve, let's try to keep it objective here the best we can here.
Sure.
But this one, this matchup going in here, still reason for the Bears to be optimistic. But yeah, Ben Johnson going against his old team should be a fun matchup. How are you expecting this one to go?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And this is going to be the thing where this comes down to, is Ben Johnson going to have the advantage here because he knows the Lions defense, or will the Lions have the advantage here because, Dan Campbell knows Ben Johnson's offense? And that is a matchup I really want to see play out in sort of the chess piece, kind of scenario. But when you look here, there is a lot, and this is not just me being biased, maybe a little bit biased, but there's a lot here to like about Chicago for 3/4 of that game, right? And really the first half, right? You saw Caleb Williams open up 10 for 10. You saw his average time to throw, the hitting that 2.2 seconds mark there. And, obviously the first opening drive went for a touchdown. He was using his leg to scramble.
Yeah.
He was getting the ball out. But then what you saw at the end was just a complete breakdown. Brian Flores for Vikings DC, yeah, he definitely brought more pressure, and Caleb did suffer underneath. That's something he's going to have to fix. And something that's been a big component to this whole offensive scheme under Ben Johnson is get the ball out quick so you don't have to think about things and you can beat some of this pressure. And to that effect, again, it's only one game, so let's not blow this out of proportion here, but that's going to be the difference for me between these two teams. Again, we talk about the offenses between Jared Goff and Caleb Williams, but it's really going to come down to the defense. You're looking at the Bears. They are 18th in sack rate. Again, it's only one game. But the Lions are way worse. The Lions are down at 25th. And so if you can get something here, really exploit this offensive line reshuffle, which really no one's talking about in terms of Goff's protection, that's the weak point here. That's going to be the question in my mind. And if we can pull the graphic back up in terms of the team stats and whatnot, like, again, this is where we're going to be at. Yes, we all think about the Lions being an offensive juggernaut. You can see the second in offensive EPA. But to me, it's going to be where it comes down to is the defensive side of the ball. Both teams, in my opinion, are going to need the defense to stabilize them, hold them into this game until the offense can get into a rhythm and do something for them. And whichever team figures that out first and more consistently, spoiler alert, is going to win, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. Steve kind of mentioned it, Seth, the chess match of, the familiarity between the coaching staffs, if you will, here. So kind of given that narrative behind the scenes here. Otherwise, elsewhere from what the data is saying or other potential game scripts here in this one, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, and the coaching, matchup is interesting, but honestly, these teams have always played each other pretty close, even going back to last season. And the Detroit Lions were favored, I think, in 10 plus points in both games, and they went 1-1. Chicago covered one of these, and then there was the whole meltdown with Eberflus that got him fired. So, I still I'm gonna learn my lesson agreeing with Steve too much here, but I think that Chicago might be the bit more, I don't say right side here, but there's a lot of unknown with Detroit. I don't know if there's going to be a rapid drop off on that offense or if Green Bay's defense is really good. And the reality is both could be true, or maybe Green Bay's defense is really good. And it's hard to understand that I'm going to buy this offense that I'm not sure if it's as good as it was last year. And wait, Chicago had some success defensively against this offense, even if it is as good as it was last year. So
Sure.
for those reasons, I feel like I'm getting to buy more of what is familiar with Chicago. Now, that being said, if I'm a Chicago fan, I'm really I'd be freaking out if you're not already about Caleb Williams. The reality is he does not look better, in my opinion. And sure, he maybe looked okay in one of those drives, but he's still scrambling a lot. And when we look at their echo rate, they're one of the worst teams. They're getting to the 40 or better 41% of drives. This is not going to be able to win enough games. Now, this is a divisional matchup, so maybe the possessions will be limited in this game. But for me, in this particular game, I think I'm getting to buy on Chicago's side a little bit more familiarity. And there's a lot of unknown with the Lions. That being said, I don't know that I want to buy either of these teams. Yeah. And our model agrees. We make this number -6 for Detroit, basically no value.
Yeah, market has been buying the Lions a little bit since open around 4.5, pretty much around the 6 mark now, 5.5 elsewhere. But yeah, it should be. I don't know. I'm with you, Seth. I think the Bears and Steve representing probably should be holding their breath. Frankly, I have more concerns about the Bears at this point than I do the Lions. But who knows? We'll see.
Really,
we'll see.
I guess my only pushback on that is who has more to lose. I mean, the Bears are supposed to suck. The Lions are supposed to be NFC champion contenders. So
whoa! Detroit was the original shittiest team in the league. Just because they've been good for the last 2 seasons, now you forget their plight.
Where they came from exactly. Yeah, nonetheless, yeah, it'll be telling, I think, for both teams here. So pretty matchup. I'll be very much tuned into for this weekend.
Last night was interesting. Like you like Caleb and JJ were drafted in the same draft, and you're sitting there thinking, wow, I don't know. It's an open shut case that Caleb was the best quarterback out of that draft. It seemed like JJ McCarthy was scrambling when he needed to, but Caleb seemed to still be scrambling as part of his game, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's an unfair critique. Obviously, very small sample size. They look pretty good. But I mean, they got bailed out with a pick 6 that inflated that, that score and the differential. So I don't know. Obviously, we got a lot of season left, but I'm left wondering, did we bet the wrong under? We were under 9.5 for Minnesota, and we should have been.
Here we go.
No, okay. I still think we saw 3/4 of a struggling JJ McCarthy, and I don't know that we're going to just all of a sudden see him have that quarter. Why the Bears allow that or how they allow that, I'm not sure, but I still think it's probably the right side. Minnesota under
makes sense. All right, couple games in the books already. We got a couple more to go still. We'll be talking about our model plays and predictions at the end of the video, so don't go anywhere for that. Don't forget, guys, please, if you're here, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Those notifications get turned on. You'll be notified real time every time we hit the airwaves, talking about the games, talking about our data, giving you guys some hopefully actionable takeaways as well. And like I said at the kickoff here, another profitable weekend. Betting our model plays across our whole portfolio, NFL and college football. There is still plenty of time to join, ladies and gentlemen. btb-analytics.com. If you use code BTB10, you'll still get 10% off the season-long package, which we believe is still the most bang for your buck. A lot of volume to still be had across both leagues, so we're excited to keep this train rolling.
7 plays this week.
Ooh, don't spoiler alert, or maybe we're done. All right, let's move on though.